So let's see what this person says. Reaper was a terrible mistake. All right, let's see why it's a mistake. I definitely think there's some issues with Reaper, but overall, I've been very pro Reaper. See, I've been hunting around for people to play the game with in recent months, and I've also been trying to get friends from other games to play with me in DDO. Yeah, he said. Yeah, thank you, Cetteron. The enormous barrier to play for new players and for returning players is Reaper mode, specifically the health and other benefits in the Reaper trees. I agree that there is a big benefit. I think a big difference between like new players and established players. And I think one thing that I would criticize Reaper for is I think they probably went too far in the rewards for Reaper in the trees. Specifically, the HP is a huge deal. Like getting 21 Reaper points is like an enormous power jump for your survivability, especially in like Reaper mode where you're going to be taking a lot of damage. It can be really hard without any Reaper points. It can be pretty hard for a lot of builds, like DPS builds and stuff, casters, rogues, to get enough HP to stay alive in Reaper without the Reaper points. So I think they probably, I was kind of surprised that they made a lot of that stuff available even outside of Reaper. Like the first 4 cores in the Reaper trees, for those of y'all who aren't aware, they are applicable outside of Reaper. So if you're running like a epic hard raid or something, it's gonna be applicable. It's gonna apply to your character. So that's a big deal. But anyways, this person says the problem is that enough of the player base is converted to Reaper only mode at this point that it deprives players not ready to play in Reaper mode of the companionship they need to play in MMO. And that's true. That's kind of unfortunate, but it is Reaper is kind of the default mode. Like I would say like 90% of non-raid LFMs are Reaper mode. So yeah, that's it can be tough for like brand new players who just want to play in hard, or just epic elite to get a group. So yeah, I understand that's kind of frustrating. The people I brought in were favorably impressed with the game, but very harsh in the assessments. Let's see, I'm not going to read all this. They made of the time committed required to get up to speed and play normally in groups. Depends on your build. Like, I think if you want to run like a healer or something, you can just hop in first life, no problem. And then there's certain builds that are just so good that even without any Reaper points, you're gonna do fine. Like when I played a Tiefling Favored Soul this past year, that build is so good that with 0 Reaper points, you're gonna be just fine in mid Reaper. You're gonna probably be like leading kill counts. Like some builds are just super good. But if you're playing like, I don't know, like a first life fighter tank or something, yeah, you're probably gonna struggle. But some builds, no. The person in question was playing a 2-weapon fighting ranger. I think those are still okay. I don't know a lot about rangers though. But yeah, it's probably a build where you're gonna struggle with health. I do make elite EE groups all the time. However, let's see. I will say like one thing they are probably gonna do, and this is something Severland's talked about a few times in his talks with Cordovan and some of the live streams he's done, is it seems like they want to introduce a concept of I don't know what they're going to call it, but they want to introduce some system where you can benefit from, like, let's say you have a 4-person group and you have, say, like one person with 60 Reaper points and then everyone else has 0 Reaper points. They want to introduce some system where you can benefit from, like, the people with 0 Reaper points can benefit some from the guy that has 60 Reaper points. It won't be like, you won't be like be able to take advantage of all those points, but like a portion of them, you should be able to share with them their points. So some way to like reduce the gap is probably a good idea. And they're probably, from what they've said, they might change the Reaper trees over to like a rank system, so where you don't actually pick your whatever you take in Reaper modes, you just get a like higher and higher rank and get set things. That's probably something they'll have to do in order to implement some system where you can share. So if you're like rank 10, maybe your players you're playing with will benefit up to rank, I don't know, 5 or something. But that would be cool to see. But I think the person has some fair gripes here. There is probably a bigger gap than they would like, and the more reincarnations they introduce, the bigger the gap grows. So some way to kind of share Reaper points would be welcome. Okay, and then this person says, I've always thought the biggest mistake in Reaper mode was the healing penalty. I strongly disagree with that, actually. The thing with Reaper is, and I made videos about this way back in the day. Like, the Reaper mode healing penalty is necessary because over the course of the game, they introduced too much self-healing before Reaper mode came in, and it was like really difficult for them for the longest time before Reaper mode to introduce like a viable way to challenge people, because people had so much self-healing with like reconstruct and the heal spell and stuff, that the ability of people to heal quickly, like up to full so quickly, made it so they had to introduce like one-shot mechanics, things that aren't really compelling. So the only way to really make content difficult was to introduce a healing penalty. It was either that or do massive nerfs to self-healing like throughout the game. But what they went with is the healing penalty in Reaper. And so that's why I think it's really good. If there was no healing penalty, it would make it really hard for people to for them to do what they did with Reaper, which is make it a group focused thing where you've got like where things like crowd control matters a lot, and having a healer matters a lot. So yeah, I think the self-healing penalty is essential to Reaper mode. I think it would be hard for Reaper mode to exist without it, to be personally. This person also talks about, let's see, flip side is the extra XP. Okay, one thing I would like to see them change about Reaper mode is, and I think it kind of it's like splits players a little bit, is that they need to add in a system to where your first time bonus in Reaper doesn't work like a first time bonus. Like, let's say, and I've talked about this before, but this is similar to a change they made to bravery bonus, to where bravery bonus is no longer like a first time bonus. Like, say you go into your first run is on hard, you get a percentage of the total bonus you can get, and then if you run elite, you get the rest of it. The same thing needs to happen with Reaper mode. So Reaper mode, I think, should work like that. So let's say if you run a quest on Reaper 10, let's say first time, let's just say you would get 10,000 Reaper XP. They should make the system work so that, let's say the first time you run Reaper mode, let's just say it's on R4 and you get 4,000 Reaper XP. The next time you run it, let's say the second run you do on R10, you should get the remaining 6,000 XP, like the remaining part of your bonus. Because the way it works right now is it disincentivizes you from grouping with people who are, say, not running at a skull you want to run at, because it's only a first time bonus. So if you run, let's say you do a quest 2 times, once on R1 and then once on R10. If you do the R1 run first, then you get a massive penalty to your Reaper XP because you use your first time Reaper bonus on such a low amount of Reaper XP, because you're only running R1, and it applies that percentage bonus to your R1 run. And when you run it on R10 for your second run, you don't get any benefit from that. Whereas if you run on R10 first, you get a much bigger bonus, because your percentage first time bonus applies to your R10 Reaper XP. So that system existing the way it does really disincentivizes people from running a Reaper mode for a quest at all until they're ready to run it at the skull they want to run it at. So if there's someone throwing up an LFM for like R1, I don't know, R1 Lords of Dust or whatever, no one's going to join that if it's their first time, and they don't want to waste their first time Reaper bonus on that. They would much rather running at a higher skull first. So it's just one of those things that makes it harder for people to group. So I hope they change that eventually. What do y'all think about the current system, like with Reaper mode XP and stuff? I think they really need to make that change, so that you don't feel like you're wasting your first time bonus. I think that would be just a total positive change, and something they've already done that with bravery bonus. So why not make the same change with Reaper XP?